Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel, and welcome to this modern horror movie review series, where we're taking a look at movies from the last 15 years or so from my collection to watch and review that I haven't before. So before I get to the movie that we're going to talk about today, I wanted to give you guys a little update. For a couple of reasons, I'm going to extend this series into the month of April. One is I missed a whole week in the middle of March because I was sick and March Madness was going on. That's the weaker excuse. But and I still have so many more movies from the last 15 years in my collection that I really want to watch and review. So this is gonna be a 2-month series. I'm gonna extend into April. Part of the reason I'm doing it is because of that, missing a week in March. The other part is, if you didn't know before, I'm gonna be gone the first week of May. My family and I are going to Florida doing the whole Disney thing. So what I was gonna do in April, which is a TV series, a horror TV series review, I'm going to do that in May because I only need about 3 weeks to do it. So everything just sort of aligns and works out better this way is the bottom line here. So just wanted to throw that out there that you will be getting a lot more modern horror movie reviews through the end of April here. And then starting in May, around May 10th, I'll start doing the TV series that I was going to do for April. That'll be the rest of May. So with all that, with all those logistics out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the movie that we're going to look at today. And that movie is from 2015, a movie that really doesn't get talked about too much. It should get talked about a lot more, in my opinion, having watched it. But that movie it's a fairly low budget movie as well. Dark Sky Films movie that I have on Blu-ray. We Are Still Here, from 2015. Will keep your knuckles tightened, according to Entertainment Weekly. Intensely creepy, according to Ain't It Cool News. And I'll show you guys the back here. It does have some bonus special features that I have yet to watch, but yeah, let's talk about We Are Still Here from 2015, going back about 11 years. So We Are Still Here is a 2015 American supernatural horror film about grieving parents who move to a rural New England house hoping for a fresh start, only to find that the house has a dark history. It is written and directed by Ted Geoghegan and stars Andrew Saintsing, Barbara Crampton as the grieving parents. The film had its world premiere at South by Southwest on March 15th, 2015. It was released in the United States on June 5th, 2015 by Dark Sky Films. So in 1979, following the death of their son Bobby in a car crash, Anne and Paul Sacchetti have decided to move to a new home in rural New England. Paul hopes that it will be therapeutic for Anne, as the death has caused her to spiral into a deep depression. However, Anne starts claiming that Bobby is present in the house, and neighbor Cat McCabe warns them to leave. The house was built in the 1800s by the Dagmar family as a funeral home. The Dagmars were reportedly run out of the village after townspeople discovered that they were swindling their customers by selling the corpses and burying empty caskets. Undeterred, Anne invites her friends May and Jacob Lewis, as they are both spiritualists and could help to contact Bobby. The couple go out to eat, during which time the Lewis's son Harry arrives with his girlfriend Danella. Harry is killed by an apparition in the basement, and Danella flees in horror, only to be killed too. So yeah, that's to set up the premise, the beginning of We Are Still Here from 2015. As far as the cast goes, we have the lovely and talented Barbara Crampton as Anne Sacchetti, Andrew Saintsing as Paul Sacchetti, Larry Fessenden as Jacob Lewis, Lisa Marie as May Lewis, Monty Markham as Dave McCabe, Susan Gibney as Maddie, and Michael Patrick as Harry Lewis. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 2015 supernatural horror film We Are Still Here. This is a really effective horror movie that I really enjoyed. It might not be for everybody, and we'll get into that with my pros and cons, but this is just my kind of horror movie at the end of the day, is what I'm trying to say here. And for being low budget, I thought they did a terrific job with the effects, mostly practical, with the performances, and just with the sort of I don't know what you want to call it, but it plays very much like 100 other movies we've seen before, but it doesn't end that way. That's the best I can say. So let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the things that I really liked about We Are Here from 2015, the pros. And I have to say, the overall atmosphere and the vibes in this movie that were created are very effective and engaging. Even the first half of the movie, where it's more exposition, more character introductions, I was never bored. I was always engaged because of the music and the score, the images on screen, the camera work by the director, as well as the overall performances led by Barbara Crampton. It had me engaged into wanting to find out what was going to happen and kind of where the story was going here. So that's the first thing that really stood out to me. The performances are really top notch, of course, led by Barbara Crampton, but also Larry Fessenden. I think those are the two that really steal the show here. But the entire cast does a really good job, being fully into this story and in terms of what's going on with it. I didn't feel like anybody had mailed it in. And so, yeah, great performances. But Barbara Crampton, I mean, everything I've seen her in, she's a great actress. And I was fortunate enough to meet her a couple years ago at a horror convention and get her autograph and get a picture with her. One of the best experiences of meeting anybody at a horror convention, frankly. But she's just terrific in this movie. But Larry Fessenden as well his character really has to go to some dark, weird places and do some physical acting, and I thought he did a great job as well. The movie looks fantastic. Incredible cinematography, the way the director pans around the house, outside and inside, and focuses on the outdoor landscape, like opening the movie, as well as the outside parts and inside parts of the house, and then around the outside of the house. Just fantastic. It really helps set the mood and the atmosphere here. But the movie just shot fantastically. This is a director that I haven't seen anything else he's done. Ted, and I think I'm butchering his last name, Geohagen. But man, he's got a talent. He really does have a talent as a director here, and it shines through in this movie. I was surprised by how gory and bloody this movie was, especially in the third act, and how effective a job they did with the gore and the blood, as well as the fact that it's mostly practical, the makeup effects, the gore. I'm not going to say it's 100% practical, but it's probably about 80% practical, and there is some CGI mixed in there as well. But it's a very gory movie, especially in the third act, and just the overall look of the ghosts and the spirits in the house with the makeup effects as well. You can kind of see one of them right there. Very creepy, very effective, very practically done from a practical effects standpoint. I was really impressed with the sort of the gore as well as the makeup effects of the spirits in this movie. Very well done. I like the fact that the movie plays homage to Lucio Fulci, which that's why it's so gory in the third act. This movie really reminds me of House by the Cemetery in a lot of ways, and I don't think that's by accident. I think that's kind of what they were going through by having its own twist and spin on it. But I love that because Lucio Fulci is one of my favorite horror directors. And I also like the fact that it sort of has a different take on the whole haunted house, supernatural thing that's going on here. And that's really set up in this movie. I mean, when you read about this movie and you watch it, you think, oh, okay, we've got another we've seen hundreds of these movies before where you've got a couple that suffered some tragedy in the past that moves into a house that has secrets about it, some kind of evil presence or entity. And how are they going to cope with that? Are they going to leave? Are they going to stay? Are they going to call in spiritual advisors / seances and things like that? And they do have those things, but it also has another secret to it that's outside of the house that you find out about 2/3 of the way through the movie or halfway through the movie. I just really like the whole spin that they put on the sort of common setup of the I don't know if you want to say haunted house or like supernatural elements of the house, an evil presence in the house that we've seen in so many movies before, but it doesn't play out like so many movies before. So I really love that as well. And then my final pro is, if you haven't had enough already, is I really like the third act of this movie. It really goes batshit crazy. It's very action packed, really making up for the first half of the movie, which is a lot more exposition, a lot more character dialogue and interaction, which is all great. I was engaged with it. Other people might not be, but the third act, man, they really go out with a bang, to say the least, in this movie. A lot of gore, a lot of kills, a lot of horror going on. So, yeah. You're not going to be disappointed by that. Also, I have to mention the setting overall. I just love an outdoor winter kind of setting that you get here in this isolated New England town. That really plays well into the horror and the atmosphere as well. The fact that it's so isolated, it's in the winter time, snow looks great on camera. All of that is just fantastic about this movie. So yeah, those are my pros, and I'm sure there's more for We Are Here. As far as cons go, more of a warning again, as I've said in other movies. The first half of the movie it's a very slow burn movie. And that's not going to be for everybody. I didn't mind it because of the performances, because of the atmosphere that was created, and all those other things I mentioned before. But for some people that want things to kind of to move along, that might not be their cup of tea. But I will recommend to people to stay with it, because you will get the payoff in the end. With the third act here. But I will say the first half of the movie is a slow burn with more exposition than action or horror. And then, this is a small nitpick, but there's a scene that happens halfway through the movie when there's the reveal, where a waitress answers the door and gets shot and killed by another character, which really doesn't make a lot of sense. Why she was shot and killed, and not just like why this character didn't just force their way inside around the waitress, but they actually shot and killed her. I imagine it's for dramatic emphasis, but it didn't fit at all in the story, of course. And I think it was just to kind of... It might have been a little bit of foreshadowing for what the third act was going to be, but it didn't make any sense, because she wasn't part of what this character needed to... there's just no reason for it. So, and there never is a reason explained for it later on. Again, it's a nitpick that the character that gets shot and killed, this waitress, really doesn't have that big of a role in the movie. But I just thought that was kind of like, well, what was the point of that? I remember thinking, but that's really all I could come up with as far as cons go for this kind of movie, guys. This is an 8.5 out of 10 for me. We Are Here from 2015. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's very fun, effective for a low-budget movie, very gory, well-acted, led by Barbara Crampton, very well-directed by Ted Geohagen. Looks fantastic. Yeah, what else can I say? This has a recommendation from me. I would check it out. If you're anybody that's at all interested in supernatural, haunted house, but more supernatural movies with a bit of a twist on it, so it's not your traditional, it doesn't play out in the traditional way, and you're big into the Lucio Fulci gore, check it out. This is an underrated movie, in my opinion, from 2015. We are still here from 2015 that I have on Blu-ray, Dark Sky Films. Check it out. So 8.5 out of 10. Go ahead and comment down below your guys' thoughts on We Are Still Here, if you've seen it before. Do you like it? Do you not? Comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out for the future content and my channel going forward. But with that being said, stay tuned for at least 10 more between now and the end of April, about 8 to 10 more modern horror movie reviews. And I hope everybody's doing well, but of course, as always, stay scared. Bye.